One thing's for sure, if you work with characters, wardrobe malfunctions happen. And sometimes they were awkward. Working with the characters of Walt Disney World as a photographer, we got to see a lot of different things and experience some wonderful, amazing moments. And then you'd see some that were just kind of like, oh, wow, that was something. Among those were wardrobe malfunctions. They happen. Costumes don't always do what they're supposed to. Guests make mistakes, and yes, guests would have them as well. You would just see things, and so part of our training was learning to watch for costume malfunctions with the characters and how to deal with them. Now, generally, the job of a wardrobe malfunction to be fixed or awareness is the job of the attendant, the person that's there to help the characters. But they weren't always available, which meant we had to step in and be ready. And of course, when you're watching through a camera lens or watching for the pictures, your eyes are on that character and the guests, while the attendant may be back in the line. So we were ready to go. And it was a good thing, too. Now, they could be something simple, like Mickey's shoes and Minnie's. This happened a lot, where somebody would step on their foot and their shoe would indent, and you're just like, why are you stepping on their foot? And now their shoe looks like a weird sandal because it's indented, and it didn't look good. And Mickey's gotta look good, he's the boss! And so, yeah, we would have to get up there and immediately try to help Mickey pop his shoe, especially if he didn't know it, because sometimes he didn't. Sometimes it could be as simple as Mickey just flexing his toes and the shoe would pop back. And other times, Mickey, we kind of need to take you into the back where we can get your shoe fixed so it doesn't look weird. Watch where you step, people. And then, of course, poor Mickey gets his foot stepped on, and he's hopping around because it hurts sometimes, because why do people wear heels at parks? That was the worst, when somebody with a heel on stepped on his foot. It could also be a matter of Velcro coming undone. Velcro is used with a lot of the costumes because it's quick, it's easy, it snaps into place, and it also means it comes undone easily. Pluto's collar was notorious for this, where it would just come unfastened and fall off, or the dog tag would fall off. And then you're trying to, here, Pluto, let me help you get it back on, and trying to make sure you didn't put it on as a choker, because that would not be good. Every now and then you would get somebody that when they're posing with the character, they would reach up to put their arm around, and they would just barely catch it, and whoops, there it went. And that would happen with other costume pieces occasionally, too. The Chipmunks, when they would wear other costume pieces, would occasionally get a shoulder caught, and, things pop, you're just kind of going, here, we gotta fix that real quick. You don't want to see that. Now, they didn't expose themselves, but, you want the characters to look good, and when you got a flap sticking up, no, don't want that. So, what we would do to fix them, if we saw it, was a couple of different things. We would step up and we'd let the character know first off. Hey folks, I just need to talk to Mickey real quick about his phone call with Minnie. And you'd step up and you kind of whisper in their ear. Now, if it was something simple that could be fixed, you'd fix it while you were talking to them. And then you'd kind of make a loud discussion and show of it. Hey Mickey, I hear that Minnie's supposed to be coming up here pretty soon, and let me just straighten up your vest. Or, if it was bad, then you'd say, hey folks, Mickey's going to be right back in just a minute. He's got a call from Minnie waiting for him, and he needs to go answer it. And you'd take him backstage and you'd fix it. You may let him know what you're doing and why you're doing it, but they were usually pretty aware, and they often knew what was going on, even if nobody else did. But, vests getting mixed up. Goofy's vest would do this, because Goofy's got that nice little vest, and it would get tangled up, especially if Goofy was active. And, yeah, that was always interesting. Here, Goof, let me fix your vest again, because you don't want to look like that. Donald would sometimes get his shirt stuck, rolled up, especially if he was flashing Donald. I did see Donald one time get his shirt actually stuck up around his collar. That was just like, Donald, I don't know if that looks quite appropriate for families. But there were definitely times when costume malfunctions could get awkward. Probably the most common one, and the one you see on videos online, is Minnie. Because poor Minnie, when she's in her classic red and white dotted dress, she tends to have issues with her bloomers. Why? I don't really know, unless it's just diet or something. But there were a number of times that we would be out taking pictures and, "Hey, Minnie, you're slipping just a little bit," and, "Minnie, you just dropped your bloomers." She'd have to pull them up again. You'd see that when she was jumping around with kids and playing, and, "Minnie, you might want to watch what's going on there. Minnie's letting the world see stuff they shouldn't see." Okay, it really wasn't that bad, because Minnie is covered, but it was just one of those deals that there were a lot of times that Minnie would make sure she'd tell her friends to bring safety pins so that wouldn't happen. And she'd pin them up. But that was probably the most common and the most awkward kind of costume malfunction. You would see other things where pieces wouldn't fit right or they would come off. I remember Buzz Lightyear one time, one of his legs, I believe it was the upper portion was backwards for some reason. And you're like, how do you even do that? You would occasionally see other costumes that would just not lay right and not sit right, and so you'd want to adjust them. And guest costumes! My goodness, some of the stuff that guests would wear sometimes, and then the way they'd pose, you'd go, "Hello?" Ladies, I don't mean to pick on you. Guys would wear the muscle shirts. Those were annoying. Okay, if you're going to wear a shirt, wear a real shirt. But the ladies sometimes didn't realize what they were doing when they were posing. Okay, ladies, let me give you a hint. As a photographer, this is for everybody. I hate when I see people bend over for a pose. You see that group shot and you got the whole roll bending over? Don't bend over. Kneel down. Crouch or something. Because what happens when you bend over, if you've got a loose shirt, whoops! That's not what we want in a picture. And guys, like I said, they wear the ugly, sleeveless, cut open shirt. No, we don't want to see that either. We want a nice looking picture. The other thing that would happen with ladies is they would wear the short mini skirts. And, and again, you're really stuck and limited on poses then. Can't get you sitting down, can't get you crouching. Gotta put you in the back standing up, and hopefully there's people there, because otherwise, I had a group of 5 ladies that had been drinking around the world. And they were schnookered. And they really wanted a group picture on a bench. And these ladies did not know how to sit. They were just... And I mean, after trying several different things and angles, hey, maybe ladies all try to slide your legs over to the side or something. I thought, okay, I'm sorry, ladies. We're just going to have to stand up and get this picture because there's no way I can get that picture the way y'all are trying to pose without it getting deleted. Because it's just like, hello? If you've been drinking around the world, it's probably not the best time to get pictures, especially if you're wearing mini skirts. And then one of the other guest ones I saw at Disneyland Paris, and I don't mean to embarrass these people, because I love the way goth dress a lot of times, but at Disneyland Paris I saw a couple people, and they had the boots with the heels that were like this high, and how do you walk in that? Oh, I mean, it hurt my feet just looking at it. The other one that got me, that we would see all the time at Walt Disney World, was a gentleman that had one of the long overcoats, a duster, kind of like what I wear at Silver Dollar City. And he had the whole thing filled with Disney pins, which looked really cool until you realize a duster isn't a light coat to begin with. He probably had about 40 pounds of pins on that coat, and he would wear it in Florida in the summer. Hello? Dude? Okay, it's one thing to want to show off your pins, it's another thing to be utterly silly about it. Yeah, I call that a malfunction. Not necessarily the costume, though. The worst one I saw, though, as a photographer, was with Ariel, in Ariel's grotto at the time. Now, when the guests lined up, they would line up along the side of this area, away from the water fountains. You had a little entrance, and then they would walk around a corner, and Ariel would be hiding in there. And it was a good thing it was set up that way, because there was one time I'm shooting pictures of Ariel. She's finishing up with this guest. We're taking the pictures, and right as I finish taking the pictures, all of a sudden Ariel goes, "Ugh!" And around the same time you heard this weird pop. And it turns out that Ariel's upper costume, the clasp in the back had broken. And she managed to catch it. So nobody saw anything. I think it was a couple women anyways. It was just kind of like, uh-oh. And I immediately looked at the attendant, closed the line. I'm sorry, folks. Ariel's going to be a few minutes. She's just had something come up. And I, meantime, escorted the guests out really quick. Hey, here's your card. Happy you got your pictures. Thank you so very much. And got them out very quickly, and we closed it off. At this point, the attendant then turned to Ariel, who's kind of sitting there stuck, going, what do I do? And I was like, I will go take care of the line. And turned my back towards her, walked over to where the line was, and I cut off that entrance and kept my back turned. In the meantime, the attendant helped Ariel out of her seating position, found a shirt. I don't remember if they found a shirt that was there or if they had to run off stage and get it. But we got Ariel covered, and then it took Ariel down to wardrobe to go get a new top. Didn't expose herself, and I stayed up with the guests. Hey, how are you doing? It's gonna be a little while. There's Flounder found something and wanted to know what it was, and we just kind of did this whole routine while we made sure that nobody could look around the corner at poor Ariel. And I think it took about 15 minutes or so for her to get back. Yeah, that one was a doozy. But the amazing thing was, it happened in such a way that nothing was exposed. The magic wasn't broken. Outside of maybe the guests who walked out, who maybe knew, but I don't think they even really knew. They just kind of were happy they got their pictures and were oblivious, which guests at Disney oftentimes are. That was the biggest one. So have you seen a costume malfunction? Have you been part of a costume malfunction? Have you avoided a costume malfunction? I'd love to hear your stories. Please be sure to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And a huge thank you to my financial supporters, my patrons, my YouTube members. Their financial support makes so much possible. If you want to know more about that and the benefits that come with it, check the description below. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. God bless. They could be something simple, like the camera about to die. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.